Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle and I'm here with Josephine Zanetti, and we're starting this YouTube channel because we want to be a resource for people who are on the Nutritional Balancing program or who are just looking to heal themselves and to become healthier. We both have an extensive nutrition background, and we just want to be able to answer your questions. So I'm going to start out by introducing Josephine, and she can talk more about herself.
Hi, Michelle. This is
Hi.
great.
I know.
So
Two
happy to
Italians.
do this with you. We've known each other for 4 years and we've been working together, and now this is going to be a new adventure.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. So
Same.
okay, so I'll talk a little bit about myself. I've been doing hair mineral analysis for over 10 years now, and before then the reason I got into nutrition, besides the fact that I was a sickly child, I started, let's say, when my doctor told me that she really believed off the record that I suffered from EMF, hypersensitivity, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, okay? And I said, oh God, and I'm thinking, okay, so I had done all the diets, right? GAPS, I had done vegan, I had done vegetarian, and still I was like an antenna, right? And I'm thinking, well, I need to go to school now and learn it for myself instead of reading in books what I need to do for myself. So I took a course from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, okay? And from there, I decided that I was going to do also another course of functional diagnostic nutrition, FDN, okay? And through that course, they give you all kinds of lab tests, a lever test, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. Finally, at the end, they did a hair mineral analysis, okay? And they did it with the lab traced elements, okay, TEI. They come back and they said, oh, wow, look at that. Now we know what you have. After I had spent so much money, it was pretty expensive, but they figured out through a hair test what was going on with me. And at that point, I remember that in 1994, I was in my 30s then, okay, I'm 62 now. And I remember then, I said, oh God, I had a hair mineral analysis with Dr. X. So I go and look at my files, I find it, then I kind of Google, and then I go into I find a website, and right away from that moment on, I knew that FDN was not going to be for me, that I was going to do the hair mineral analysis, because first it was much cheaper for clients, and that they would absolutely benefit much more from it. Right away, they would know all their toxic metals and stuff. So I started a program like almost immediately after, and because I was so sensitive, and my sensitivity, I know that some people with EMF are not that sensitive, and it could be also through our traumas that we've been through in our childhood. It could be emotional and physical, or both, I would say for me, it was both pretty much. And I also, so from that moment on, I realized that all of this stuff, it was really something that needed to be done. And as time progressed, I wrote a book. I authored a book for the program called Nutritional Balancing. And, it's 9 servings of vegetables, but it had all kinds of different, and it does have all kinds of different recipes, including meat in there. But I came to a point where even in the book, I claimed that I came full circle, but I had not really come full circle until other things started after the book. It's always like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so here I am. I'm thinking, oh, wow, okay. If we do not connect the body and the soul together, it's no use. You can do whatever you want with, like you say, you often say to me, you could do whatever, diet, pills, it ain't gonna work. Both have to be connected. In the first part of the Bible, this is a good time to talk about that because we're in the Holy Week. we can. But, in the first part of the Bible, interestingly enough, they only spoke about the body. It's very important. All it was the body. When he came in the new covenant, it talks about what's important is the soul. Second thing is the body. But we really went back to the first part, all of us. We all went back because the body became much more important. Our weight, our looks, our this, our that.
Right.
But we have neglected our soul, completely neglected our soul, as if that didn't matter. Well, the more we neglect the most important part of us, the more sicker we become and we don't get well, And I'm just finding that the more you look after that part, everything comes together, So yes, diet is so important. Yes, some supplements are important, but if you neglect that most important part of ourselves, we neglect everything, It's like the most important thing. So it's like, yes, detoxing is probably very important because, letting go of things, the most important thing, like our detachment from our culture, our parents, from where we come from, all of that, it's scary. So people, when no matter which program they start, and if they kind of cut on something they're kind of familiar with, they freak out. Oh my God. But that's normal because we all go through that. It's like a drug. It doesn't matter. It could be, it's like a heroin, right? If you let go of your mom and dad and you figure, okay, I'm not going to see them for 1 year because I need to detox, because I need to get healthy. I need to get grounded. That's a big, major change. So it's the same thing when you start cutting down on sugar and you start cutting down on grains, the body reacts. But if you're grounded and you look after the soul, I think everything can come together. So that's what I'm finding. I think you and I, that's the combination that works so well together because of that. Because we really both believe in the same thing.
I agree.
Yeah. So pretty much that's it. I say that, hopefully we'll have a lot of people listening. We got so much to share.
Yes.
You and I, right? It'll be fun.
Definitely.
Looking forward to it. There'll be a lot of fun.
I know. I'm very grateful for you. Josephine and I have a lot of similarities. We were raised in a traditional Italian family, which we won't get into that, but
that's right. That's
not only
another
diet, attitude, the upbringing, it's very tough. But we can laugh about those things with each other. So it makes it easier, when we're talking to each other, that we can just laugh about the silly things.
So true.
So my name is Michelle D'Ambra, and I have been coaching nutrition for 10 years, and I've been teaching hormonal analysis for 4 years. And like Josephine, I had so many problems. They started out from childhood. I had chronic infections, ear infections. I've probably had bronchitis 15 times, and any kind of virus you can think of, I've had multiple times. I had a very low immune system. And so by the time I got to my 20s, I was just feeling frustrated. And I just started searching out different things to try and, figure out what was wrong with me. And then in my 30s, my grandmother, I was caring for her. She passed away at 77. She had diabetes, congestive heart failure. She was obese. And I remember her eating small meals. She would eat some fruit. I don't remember her really eating like a whole bunch of bad foods. But now I know what the problems were. And later I was able to work with a doctor because they checked all of my stuff. And she said, your inflammation is high. I'm 35. My inflammation was high and my cholesterol was high. So she had me see a nutritionist. And that's when I really started getting curious about nutrition. So I started cleaning up my diet. I did like a modified Atkins, and I did like a parasite colon type cleanse, and all these things helped me tremendously. The inflammation went down in 3 months. And she also had me read a book on adrenal fatigue. This was 20 years ago. So people weren't really talking about that.
No, absolutely
very
not.
Forward thinking. She did a full history of all of my health issues, infections, and all of my traumas. And I had fibromyalgia back then. And she said, you're 35, but on the inside, you're 45. You're rapidly aging from all of these traumas. So that was kind of a wake-up call. She said, sleep anytime you have time to sleep, just nap, rest. That is the most important thing for you. She gave me some adrenal supplements, blah, blah, blah. Well, 6 months later, you know, I was in my 30s, I was feeling better. And then I moved to Florida from California. And I would say about 2 years into that, I was having problems again. I had just had strep throat. And after the round of antibiotics and steroids, I had a urinary tract infection. So I found myself slumped over my desk, very frustrated. And I said, I cannot see a regular doctor. I cannot handle another round of antibiotics. So I found a wonderful person in Clearwater who saw me that day. He did applied kinesiology. He went through my whole entire body. He backed up everything with tests.
Wow.
I had a leaky gut.
Good.
Which was causing.
Not good, but I mean, good that you took care of it.
I would eat something and my whole entire body was attacking itself. That's why I was slumped over the desk. And my neurotransmitters were low because, of course, the gut is the second brain. So you can't have good serotonin if your gut's not working properly. And then my hormones were off because, again, I had adrenal problems. So I know for sure that that was about my fourth time that I crashed my adrenals. So I worked with him. We healed my gut. You know, we worked on my hormones. I was perimenopause then, and about 36 years old. But again, I didn't change me. Like, I changed my diet. I kept getting healthier, drinking water, things like that. But I was still in unhealthy relationships. I was still working too hard. I was still playing too hard. I was, I guess, considered a partier. I would go out on the weekends. I'd stay out really late. I would drink alcohol. All these things are very devastating for the adrenals. But I was cleaning up my diet and I thought that was enough.
That's right.
Yeah. So I ended up moving to California and I found a school to learn nutrition. I went to school there for a year and I got a nutrition certification. And I started hosting clean eating groups online through Facebook. I had started a fan page. It was doing really well. I had these clean eating groups. I was very happy and excited. But I was in an unhealthy relationship. So it was like this, polarity that was happening, that I'm trying to get healthy, but then I'm in this unhealthy relationship because, again, I hadn't worked on the things that were leading me into all this, which is childhood trauma. Right. So long story short, I'm in another state because I like to move. I'm still moving. That's an issue I'll have to deal with. But I found another doctor there. By then I left the relationship and I was in full-blown menopause at 45. He said, you have the hormones of an 85-year-old lady. You have no estrogen, no progesterone, and no testosterone. And I believe that I was also in a 4-low pattern. And the reason for that is when I got my first hair test, I only had 2 of my macro minerals out. And I think that's because I started to feel better. Right. So I believe I was in 4-low. I was very sensitive to EMFs. I could barely get through the workday. I would come home. I would have to take a bath. My legs were hurting. My body was hurting. I was weak. And so I was working with another doctor. And when we got to heavy metals, he wanted me to do a urine challenge test. And something in me said, there's just something about this that is wrong. So it sat on my desk. I did some research and heard all these people getting injured because it releases metals into the body and they can get moved to like your brain. And people were literally not able to work because their brain was messed up from the metals moving there. So I found hair mineral analysis. And after I got my hair test and I read through the patterns, I was like, oh my gosh, like Josephine, I should have started here a long time ago. This is way cheaper than all these doctors I spent thousands of dollars on. And it really, because it wasn't just the nutritional imbalances, it was about my personality. And at the time I was also doing consciousness work and I was having a spiritual awakening. And I realized I was spiritually bankrupt, that all of these things that kept leading me to burnout were not about the diet. Yeah, the diet and the supplements, and the sleep is very important. I don't want to negate that, but it's the running away from the traumas. It's getting into these unhealthy relationships, not loving myself enough, that I would tolerate those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So that started my path to really work on those things. And, you know, you don't just come to the realization and then all of a sudden your life is perfect and everything's great and all your relationships are healthy. We're going to go through and we're going to still learn. But the thing is, I'm learning now that that it's things like shadow work. You know, I can't keep blaming other people because it's me too. You know, there's
That's right.
myself that are attracting these people.
That's right.
So, you know, when I hear people say, oh, my this, that, and they put all the blame on the other person. No, in relationships, we're a mirror.
Yeah.
All of our
Absolutely.
relationships
Yeah.
are a mirror. So
Yeah.
what you see in your outer world is in your inner world. And so that has probably, even just in the past couple months working on that, has made a tremendous epiphany in my life.
Yeah. No, but it's a big growth. It's a big leap also to do that.
And you can
right?
see it in my hair test. Like I went
Yes.
from a massive calcium shell to like everything dropped in half.
Yes.
Because I was able to just release and let go and take responsibility.
Yeah.
That, you know, that it was me that was putting myself in these situations and
Right.
that I have to deal with my own toxic traits, and we all have them.
Yes.
So, you know, Josephine and I are on the same page with this. As much as we know about nutrition and we believe that it's important, there's other aspects, the spiritual and the trauma, the childhood trauma. And it's not about being a victim and blaming. It's about knowing that these people are here to help us learn to love ourselves.
Absolutely. It's about loving even that part of us that we hate.
All the parts of us. And we run. And the thing about shadow work is we're running and avoiding the dark aspects of ourselves.
Right.
But we're seeing them in other people.
Yes.
So those people that are literally a mirror. And when you start to remove and you'll see this when your friend calls you and starts complaining about somebody or their relationship. And then I was thinking the past couple of years when people call me and do that, I was like, well, you're like that too.
Right.
I didn't tell them, but I'm thinking to myself, that's weird. They're complaining about people about the very thing that they are. So they're seeing a part of themselves they don't like. So then I'm like, how am I doing that? You know, because we're all in a state of denial. So I'm like, what areas am I complaining about people that I'm like that and I'm trying to avoid? And that I think was really the most eye-opening thing, is to realize that, yes, there are dark aspects of myself, and that's okay. We're human. And it's not about getting rid of the ego. It's about embracing the ego, knowing that the ego is there to protect.
That's right.
And it doesn't, you know, it's a survival thing. So inner child work, you know, shadow work, all of those things are by far, I think, the most healing out of everything that you'll find in any program.
It's like having, you know, when you're able to get to that place, which is very, very important for our health. Emotional, even physical, because when we let go of many of you know, we let go of the resentment also, right? And the good part of it all is, what I'm finding anyways, is you have more mercy on other people.
Yes.
Because you see, if we have no mercy for people, how could they have any mercy for us, for all the wrongs that we commit?
Right.
God knows. I mean, you know, we have to look back. I mean, there's, even in our present relationships, sometimes we screw up, excuse my expression, well, you know, because I mean, we're human, and if God is able to be so merciful, we should be also merciful, but it's about loving others. And, you know, it's easier said than done. Some people claim they're able to love everybody, but, you know, in truth, it's not true. Right. No. It's really, because if that would be true, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in the world that we're living in right now. And we can see that it's all a fallacy, all these positive memes on everywhere. It's all positive. But then here we go. We're probably going into something bigger than we thought that it was going to be. World War III. We're hoping not, but, you know, we don't know. But people we saw in the last 2 years that they're not well. People are not well, and we're included in that bag, we're not well. And how the hell did we get this far, right? We were really in denial. Maybe this has been worse in the last 60 years, probably, it could have been for 60 years or even before. Because
and that's why our parents, or your parents, they were healthier than us, because one, they didn't have the distractions that the soil was better.
Yes.
The food was better.
That's right.
We weren't as populated as we are now. We didn't have social media. I'm grateful that we do have these things, because there are people like you coming here that you're going to relate, and this will be a beautiful thing. But there's a lot of dark, unhealthy aspects to it too, where children are feeling like committing suicide because they don't look good enough or whatever. There's just a lot of these things that are causing more imbalances and sickness. We're getting younger and younger clients that are depleted like we are now.
Yes.
I'm 54, and I'm getting clients coming to me in their 20s and 30s that are having more struggles than I am.
That's right. We even have babies, right? We have babies that are burned out. Never mind little babies who are born at 6 months, a year old, and they're not doing well because the mother was not healthy. My mom was telling me when she had my sister and I, she had us in a small clinic. It was not in a hospital, but she had us like rabbits. It was that easy, because she might have been healthier also, but also in those days, food was better. Soil was better, like you said. The environment was better, and the way they were mattered in those days. Today, people are very isolated. They live alone. They don't have a lot of friends, and all they have is the social contact that we have right now.
Right.
And that's very difficult for people. It's not a way to live. I think whatever's going to happen in the near future, maybe it's going to be for the good, because we need to come back to the traditions that we have neglected and we have rejected. By the way, we rejected a lot of those things because we are part of that, right? We thought that why not be more progressive? But the progressiveness actually was not really something that was very healthy for any of us. But I think that we are at a place, and I think the world is, and our society is, and many people that come and see us, they're at a loss. And I think you and I will be able to guide them. We'll be able to guide them because we know we've been there, done that. And we still, we're not done.
Yeah, work in process.
We're work in progress, for sure. For sure. But nonetheless, it's true. Some of our wisdom that we were able to gain. And, I gained some wisdom with my clients.
Yeah.
Which is nice too, because it's like, I'm not thinking I'm better than them. I really have a lot of compassion for the people that come through us,
Yeah. And we see things with the hair test and people. So, and this is where I was able to see that the people that were letting go of unhealthy relationships, making changes in their life, their hair patterns changed.
Yes.
And they weren't even following the diet and taking their supplements the way that, strictly. But because they made those changes in their life and shifted, because we have an internal battle with ourselves. So with the sense of doing all this, and I'll use an example in a previous relationship, the one that I had the spiritual awakening, his mother actually cornered me in the kitchen because he upset both of us. He was an alcoholic. He actually passed away a couple of years ago. And she said, Michelle, I love my son, but I love you too. And I think that you have being, preaching and talking to people about healthiness and having this toxic relationship is contradictory. She said, and I want you to be happy. And if that means not being with my son, I understand. That was just like a smack in the face, but she was right. She was right.
She was very honest with you.
She was very honest, and I'm so grateful for that. But that's the thing is that, what's the sense of doing all these healthy things, but then having this toxic, where I'm not being loved and treated properly.
I know.
How am I not loving myself? And we can't love others if we're not loving ourselves. Everything
right.
starts with us. If everybody's like, oh, we want the world to be a better place, and they're trying to change people. No, just focus on you.
That's right.
That's all we're responsible for. If you're a mother,
That's it.
you're responsible for your kids. Other than that, and maybe caring for a parent, that's it. You are not responsible for anybody else but yourself.
Yeah, that's it. And the truth is, like, when we go through these kind of relationships, like you went through, it's a wake-up call.
Mhm.
But that's where we all get our wake-up calls. It's
Yeah.
with relationships. It's like,
it's a
that's where
blessing. It's
yeah,
a blessing. I
it's a
look
big
back and
blessing.
I am so grateful. Like, I don't have any kind of hard, bad feelings. It was
Right.
very sad when he ended up dying. I think that, all of our relationships, if we allow them to, they're there to teach us. And these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. So Josephine and I are going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about hair mineral analysis. We're going to talk about, the supplements, but we're also going to talk about the spiritual aspects and trauma and just, detox, the things that are going to help you along the way. So we're really excited to do this. We're excited to do it together. And we're going to put our information down on the bottom that you can reach out to either one of us. Feel free. Because we're all in this together. And
That's
then
right.
if you want to give us some suggestions on future videos, we're happy to take them.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Josephine.
Okay, bye.
Bye.